First off, I think that the field here was a lot tougher than maybe some of the baseball people around the country gave it credit. I'll just tell you, TCU is one of the better teams we played this year. I just feel like that Central Connecticut was a lot better than probably everybody in the field expected. Very, very tough hitters and pitchers threw strikes, and I think Cal just they just didn't play as good as they normally do. But I think that overall, the four teams that were here were probably about as good as most any regional. As far as the game today, I thought it was just an outstanding job by Patrick Wicklander coming out, freshman, packed crowd, night game, had a little delay, and just came out and just did a tremendous job. He only walked one. He did get behind some hitters, but he found a way to fight back, 3-1, 3-2. He'd get out, strikeouts, worked out of a jam or two, and gave us a chance to really set up our bullpen to finish the game up. And then offensively, I felt like that the first inning we came out with with some serious attitude and fouled off pitches. I mean, Fletcher's at bat was it was big time, and then he went down and hit a pitch. And I saw the replay on it. It wasn't like it was a mistake. It was down and away, a little below the knee, and he just smoked it over the left fielder's head. And then Kinley coming up with the big 2-out hit to give us that third run. I mean, that was big. That just gave us a chance to relax a little bit. I'm sure Patrick relaxed a little bit and settle into the game. We didn't get to take in and out. It's like we went out and we took batting practice. We sat around for an hour and a half and we played. You never know how it's going to get going. And I thought the team handled it really well and came out with, like I said earlier, just a lot of attitude and wanting to finish this thing off tonight. And just really liked what I saw from our team. But timely hitting, outstanding defense, and outstanding pitching, and our bullpen was great today.
All right, we'll take questions for the student athletes. Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. Bob?
Yeah, Matt, the home run, what I guess it was a slider. Janik said, I guess what was your approach on that, and how good did it feel to hit that out?
I wasn't sitting any particular pitch. Was just looking to foul off the close one, and he's thrown quite a few sliders to left-handed hitting and right-handed hitters. And like I said, was just trying to foul off the close one, help out the team.
Scotty.
Trevor and Matt, I guess could you guys speak to the leadership and production you've got from Jack Kinley throughout the year and then again tonight?
Yeah, I think we just saw that in his last at-bat, really. 2-out hitting, he's been probably our most clutch guy all year. He's had a big year for us, and he's going to continue to do that as long as we play the rest of the year. But he's been a really big piece down there in the bottom half of the order that keeps the lineup going.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Trevor said, Jack's been a huge piece of this offense all year, and it seems like he's never doing that bad. He's, like I said, he's been a big part, and he's also a leader on and off the field.
Patrick, just what was working for you tonight, and how big was it getting that 3-run cushion first?
Well, overall, everything was working overall tonight. I mean, like Coach Van Horst said, yeah, I fell behind a few guys, but I was able to battle back and get the outs when they were needed. 3-run cushion is always big. It's always great having an early lead.
Bob?
Patrick, I think you'd had 11 days rest. Did you feel really rested, or did you feel a little rusty? Or you didn't look rusty. I mean, what was it like having that much time off?
It's always good having an extra day's rest. Body felt great. It was, just everything felt great going into the day. Preparation was as normal. Just overall, everything was good, great.
What did you two guys think of his performance as a true freshman and first time in a big game like that?
I mean, I think he handled it extremely well with a lot of class. We've seen him do that all year, and he's had outings like that all year, so we knew he was capable of it, and we expected him to do that, and he showed it.
Kyle?
Matt and Trevor, can you guys try to put into words, as Arkansas kids who have both had to take sort of a longer journey to get to this point, to step in this year and take Arkansas to super regionals, what that means?
I'm just thrilled. It's been a fun ride so far. And as the season comes to an end, we're closing to the end. It's only going to get better, I know. So I'm just really excited and honored and privileged to be here.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's the best fan base in the country and the best team in the country. Great group of guys, and I feel very fortunate to be here.
Clay?
Patrick, Coach Van Horn spoke about this. There's the delay, the lightning. It's kind of a weird deal. Looked like you came out and just stood on the rail and just kind of soaked it in. What were you thinking?
My just thought process was it's a big game. Just do what I can, throw up as many zeros as possible. Whether there was a delay or not, just got to keep my head on right. Just throw up as many zeros as I could.
Yeah, man, I'm going to take another run at this. I know you said you wanted to foul it off, but you obviously didn't foul it off. How'd it feel to, if that's what you were thinking, just try to stay alive? What'd it feel like to put a charge like that into one?
Honestly felt very good. As probably the best ball I've hit with 2 strikes this year, and as soon as I hit it, I knew I had a good chance of going. It's the best feeling in the world.
And you guys, I think you're 31-6 at home now. And now you're going to get to play at home. Ole Miss is winning 18-2, so I'm going to go out on a limb and think they're going to come here. How good do you guys feel at home? What do you think about playing Ole Miss in the next round?
And we always feel great at home, like you said, 31-6. We have the best fans in the country. They can change the game for us, and we really feel that on the field. And I think other teams, when they come into play here, can feel that. So, they've gotten us 3 times to R2 this year, so we'll be ready to get after them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's real fun playing in front of 10,000 people that are pretty much all on your side, And big rivalry coming up. SEC matchup and the Super Regionals, I feel like the fan base is going to be behind us as well.
Hayden?
This one for Matt and Trevor. I know you guys, as mentioned, native Arkansans. Obviously, Casey been going through a slump. He gets that hit in the first inning. The crowd gets on their feet. Just what did it mean for him to kind of get that hit, get the first inning going, and obviously you guys explode for 3 runs after that?
It's going to be big going forward. Like you said, we kind of exploded after he got that hit, and he's that type of presence in the lineup. When he's going, a lot of good things happen. And it was only a matter of time. As good a hitter as he is, only a matter of time before he gets going real well again.
Yeah, Trevor said it. We all know how good Casey Martin is. It's, like he said, just a matter of time before more of those keep coming.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Gentlemen, thank you for your time. All right, same thing for Coach Van Horn. Raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. Drew?
Coach, I think it was the 4th there where they got 2nd and 3rd. Just the way Wicklander was able to get ahead there 1-2 and just stay with it. It seemed like he kept the ball down when he needed to and just made such timely pitches.
He did. He made some great pitches, especially when he was behind in the count. 3-1 count, 2-0, 2-1. He didn't just lay it in there. They hit. TCU can hit. Watched them hit today. They got another 15, 16 hits. They hit Friday. So obviously that at bat, we had a 3-0 lead at the time. That was the biggest out of the game for us. Because we had a couple older guys down there moving around pretty good, and once he got that out, we decided to let him go back out in the 5th because his pitch count was getting up pretty good, and he ended up, it says 89 pitches. I knew it was at least 85 when he finished, but he was he was right around 70, I think, when that at bat finished. That was they get a base hit right there. It's going to be a nail biter, and that was big, and that also kept him in the game. And then he came out and had a good 5th, and then we felt like we had it in control from there.
Dudley?
I'm not going to use those words that Bob used, but you've got a culture going here. You have recruits in the stands tonight. Obviously the draft will happen this week, but just talk about the culture that's got to the point to where kids in Arkansas grew up, dream of playing here, and then come and root them on.
Well, it's grown over the last few years. I think it was pretty good 10 years ago, but it continued to get better and better. Did you watch the way our players acted when we won the game? just like another game. And because they know that they accomplished something, but they hadn't accomplished what we're really trying to do. So, you know, I didn't say anything to him after the game, but we all noticed it, and that's what we want. And we didn't have to talk about it before the series or before the regional and say, hey, when we win the regional, I don't want you guys celebrating. I never said that to those guys. They're happy that we won it, and they're happy they get a day off tomorrow, and they get a chance to play again for at least one more week together. And if it goes well, they get another week or so. So, yeah, I feel like kids in Arkansas want to come here. We want Arkansas kids, number one. I say it all the time. We want to get the best players in the state. Every now and then one slips away, like Trevor Ezell, who decided to put on 35 pounds after his senior year and got big and strong. And, you know, it happens. You know, Matt Goodheart, we knew about him. Didn't know if he'd get to play last year as a freshman with all those kids returning. Kind of let him just head off to JUCO, but we went and told him we'd watch him after 1 year. And you usually don't take them after 1 year. Their coaches don't like that, but we kind of told him this is what we were going to do right when he enrolled. And that's it worked out. But we've got a lot of good kids coming in this next year, and then that 2020 class is really special, and there's a lot of Arkansas kids. And that 20 class that we have committed, and I can't mention any names, but it's the fan base, it's expectation, it's the way our players act. Yeah, we've got a pretty good culture going on right now. Our locker room's great. If there's problems in there, they usually fix it. They get first shot at it, and if it doesn't work, then we get involved. But it's been good.
Bob?
Yeah, Dave, obviously everybody wants to play at home, but the reality is a lot of the top 16 seeds don't make it out of their own regional. You guys really took care of business, you know, won all 3 games. How good does that feel when it doesn't? And this Arkansas is only 4-4 in regionals it's hosted, so it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I mean, just because you get to host doesn't mean you win, obviously, because when you host, sometimes you feel a lot more pressure because you're supposed to win. And the fans think you're supposed to win, and they say you're going to win, and everyone says you're going to win. And then the other teams come in, and they're like, hey, we're not supposed to win. They play loose. They've got good players as well. They got something to prove. They want to continue their season. I mean, it's difficult sometimes winning at home. And our players over the last couple of years have done a great job of playing well in front of their own fans. And, you know, I've said it before, there's been a year or two when we didn't play great at home. I think our guys were a little stressed out and couldn't flip it. And we played a little better on the road, it seemed like, but not the last few years. And the fans have been great.
Matt?
Hey, Dave, this was the 6th time in the last 10 years that your team has won its regional. What do you think maybe you and your coaching staff have figured out to get your team ready to play so consistently at this time of year?
Well, then it wouldn't be a secret anymore if I told you. No, really, I think what you do is you just evaluate your team where you're at the end of the season. Like I felt like we were tired. We didn't do a whole lot last week for 2.5 days, and they loved it. And I think they played with a lot more energy. There's sometimes, you know, maybe you see you really need to work on certain things, but I don't think you can change a whole lot because the players are going to think you're pretty nervous, you're uptight. And I told them on Thursday, I said, you know, I've had the opportunity to be in a lot of regionals and super regionals, been to Omaha a bunch of times. I said, I'm not nervous at this time of the year. I'm nervous during the season because it's hard to get to this point. There's a lot of good teams that aren't playing anymore. Now that we're here, I just want you guys to go out and have fun. Let's see how long we can play together, keep this thing going. And I told them on Thursday, I said, I'm not meeting with you in the outfield Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I said, you guys handle that meeting. I said, I've said everything I need to say, and I didn't go out. No, those guys took it. And I think they appreciate that. And what am I going to say? 60 games. What do you say? Start making stuff up. So they can have it.
Clay?
Talked a lot about Patrick, but Cody and Jacob, what they did at the back end, how did they pick their game up this game?
Well, Cody had a little bit of soreness in his bicep, not tonight, obviously, but the last few weeks he's good. Kosti Shock, his last outing wasn't great, and I think he was disappointed. We really needed to get him out there. No, that's what they have. They have that kind of stuff, and it was good for them to get out there and have success and feel good about that going into next weekend. No, I mean they both throw the ball in the mid-90s when they want. They both have good sliders and both have good change-ups. And if we have a chance to win this next weekend, we've got to have both of those guys maybe a couple of times.
Nate?
I guess presuming the regional here, super regional starts Friday, do you just keep the same rotation this week with the rest set up?
I can't tell you 100% right now. I want to sit down and talk with the other coaches, but I think that we'll definitely be able to tell you that on probably tomorrow afternoon. But I would probably say, if Isaiah's ready to go, he'll pitch first.
Matt?
Looks like you're going to play an SEC team again in the Super Regional like you did last year. I wonder, what are the advantages, disadvantages of seeing a team as many times as you've seen them, and what are your thoughts on Ole Miss this year?
Well, I don't, there's probably, advantages, disadvantages. It's kind of, they wash each other out because we've seen each other. We know our tendencies. We know who's going to pitch. We know how to, we think we know how to get their guys out if our guys can execute pitches or how we can hit their pitchers. But, I think you can throw the records out the window. It comes down to one weekend. Who's going to get the big hit? Who's going to make a pitch? Who's going to get a bloop single? Who's going to play defense? So I don't know. I don't think it's that big a deal that we're playing an SEC school. I don't think anybody in the SEC would prefer it. We would rather be playing somebody out. I can't speak for the other coaches, but I just know how we talk, how we're kind of relieved to get away from the SEC when we get to regionals and super regionals. But the committee lined everybody up this way, it seemed like, for the most part, and feel fortunate to be here. So, and I'm sure Ole Miss feels good. Now, what about how do I feel about them? They're really talented, and they're a very old team. They have older players. They kept some guys from signing last year and got a couple guys back. We got a freshman who's the best. To me, he's the best freshman pitcher in the league this year, and he's really been kind of their go-to guy, and he pitches second. And they have power. They've got a few guys that can run. They've got a shortstop that can flat out play. They got some guys that are going to play in the big league. So, just basically, I'm just describing 2 or 3 or 4 teams in our league right now that have experience, and they're one of them. And they were preseason one of the top teams in the country. I know they were top 10 in about every poll, and they're playing well. They played all the way through the conference tournament championship, and now they're smoked everybody in their regional for the most part. It sounds like to me.
Bob?
Dave, Jim Schlossnagle said, you guys you look like an Omaha team, look like a College World Series team. You obviously know College World Series teams. How do you feel about that?
Well, I appreciate him saying that. I could say that about them as well. They have a big physical team. They've got left and right-handed hitters. They've got power. They've got big-time arms. I don't know. We'll see next week.
Scotty?
Jack Kinley is obviously one of your older guys. You feel like he kind of played that way tonight?
Yeah, Kinley's been a great, story, really, when you think about him being kind of a utility guy. Got to play a little bit, and then, the first titty I think he got in college one season was in the SEC tournament. He didn't have a batting average. He was 0 for 20. And, waited his time. Carson Shaddy came back, and a couple other guys came back last year, and he's probably thinking, hey, I'm going to get in the lineup as a sophomore. And he was kind of a, defensive replacement, played a little here, a little there, really good fielder, good teammate, really good student. And, he got his shot this year, and he's really taken advantage of it. We wouldn't be sitting right here right now if it wasn't for him having the year he's had. He's been incredible.
Grant?
We heard what the players said about Casey Martin. That last at bat, when I think it was a 9 or 10 pitch battle, and it felt like the crowd was encouraging him and appreciating, just the way he battled there and hit it pretty good. I mean, can he take something from that?
I think so. It was a great at bat. That's the way I felt, even though he didn't get a hit, and we ended up getting the runner to second with 2 strikes and hit the ball pretty good to center field. But it was kind of like the at bat that Ezell had yesterday off the lefty. He struck out, but he had a great at bat. I only saw 7 or 8 pitches, and like I said last night, he hit 2 or 3 of them hard. And I think he kind of set the tone, even with a strikeout, that this is going to be a battle for you, big fella. And we gave him all he could ask for, and got him out of the game. And Casey's going to be fine. He played really good defense. I'm proud of him. That he didn't pout around. He's 0 for 19, 18, 20. I don't know what it was, and he just kept fighting and playing defense and helping us win. He didn't slam his bat or throw his helmet, distract us in the dugout. And he's growing up a little bit.
Bobby?
What was it about the pitching that was so effective this weekend? It really started on Friday and it almost looked like they all built off of each other.
Well, Isaiah was just really good. On Saturday it was unbelievable. And then you go back to game 1, we got everything we wanted out of Nolan. They were hitting the ball, making contact, but they weren't hitting it super hard. A couple of them hit some hard ground ball. I think they lined out to center one time, but he gave us 5 innings, and so he got us off to a good start. And like I said earlier, Central Connecticut, they were better than I think that we thought they were going to be, and they showed it today. They showed a lot of fight today. They beat Cal yesterday. They fought us for a while. So it wasn't like he was throwing against a team that was not competitive. They were very competitive, and but he got us off to a good start. And then, what can you say about Saturday's start? It was about as good as it could be, and in a huge game. And then tonight, Wicklander, he didn't throw strike 1 to too many hitters, but he came back and would throw a strike with the second or third pitch, and then he just kept fighting back, and he showed me a little bit there. And then the bullpen, they were ready to roll. So why? Because it's that time of year. You either do or you don't. These guys stepped it up.
Jason?
What are the next 3 days like for your program, for the guys that are in it that are draft eligible, and for you as coaches kind of monitoring what goes on with the 2019 guys?
Well, tomorrow, obviously, is a big day. I think they take about 70 picks, somewhere in there. I don't know if any of our guys are going to see their name called or not. I think there's maybe one that should, but we'll see. Probably some nerves tomorrow, but then after that, then you have Tuesday and Wednesday. That's when most of the guys are going to be selected. We'll have so we'll see them on Tuesday. We'll give them tomorrow off. Practice Tuesday, Wednesday, so we'll see them both of those days. And I'm not even sure what time the draft starts on Tuesday, probably at noon our time, something like that, maybe both days. Maybe Wednesday a little earlier. They start zipping through them pretty fast there. So I don't know. I just think that this is a big time in a lot of these guys' lives. They've been working to hear their name selected. It's special. Hopefully we'll have 7 or 8 guys drafted.
Bob?
Dave, I was up there writing pretty fast when the game ended. I really didn't look down on the field. Did the guys just act like they just won an SEC game or a midweek game, or what you were talking about their reaction?
Well, they act like they won a big game. They were excited. Coaches shake hands, and players just went out and do what they do. They didn't do anything crazy, or I didn't see anything more than normal. So I would say just like they maybe like they won a series, and that was good to see. You should keep your head up more, Bob. You wouldn't have to ask so many questions.
Got to make deadline when you guys play at 8:30.
Not my fault, Bob. Okay.
Any more questions for Coach Van Horn? Coach, thank you very much.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.